Chapter 4. Shadows. They found a food stand tucked behind the side exit of the main hall, halfway hidden between a merch tent and a long row of sponsor banners. The vendor was an older man with a portable grill, moving with the quiet precision of someone who'd been cooking the same three things for 30 years. A laminated sign above his head read, "Hot dogs, cash only." Smoke curled lazily through the night air, catching the yellow of nearby string lights and making the booth glow faintly like a portal to something simpler. Oliver ordered without hesitation. Sofia squinted at the faded condiments menu, then pointed to the same thing and added a soda. The vendor handed them their paper trays with a grunt and a nod. They thanked him and wandered a few meters down the pavement to a low concrete ledge that ringed the edge of a planter filled with decorative shrubs. They ate in silence at first, not because they didn't have anything to say, but because neither of them felt the need to fill the space with words.
Better than the hotel breakfast, Oliver said eventually, mouth half full.
That's not hard.
Sofia replied, licking a bit of mustard from her thumb.
Their eggs were gray. I didn't know that was a color eggs could be.
The sky had darkened while they ate, trading the pale haze of late afternoon for deep blue shadows. String lights flickered on overhead, casting warm glows over the scattered crowd. They watched people drift by, cosplayers with face paint melting into their collars, event staff dragging foldable signs and lanyard buckets back into storage, a little kid in a cardboard controller costume being pulled gently along by a parent. The chaos of the day had ebbed into something quieter, not calm exactly, but less performative.
I like this.
Sofia said after a while, wiping her hands on a napkin.
The hot dog?
The slowdown. The atmosphere. You ever notice how festivals feel different at night? Like they exhale?
Oliver nodded slowly.
Everything gets quieter when the bright colors turn into shadows.
Exactly. The selfie crowd goes home, the rest of us get to enjoy it properly.
They took their time finishing. Sofia leaned back on her elbows, balancing her soda on one knee. Oliver mirrored her, stretching his legs out, watching the glow of a vendor's light blink against passing faces.
Used to go up north with my dad.
Sofia said after a long pause.
Tiny resort town. Nothing to do after 8 except look up. We counted satellites once. 6 in 1 hour.
Oliver's eyes followed hers to the sky.
Light pollution's a liar.
Yeah,
She said.
but even liars let something slip now and then.
She paused, then added,
I used to imagine one of them wasn't a satellite. Just something pretending. Watching.
Paranoid.
Prepared.
She corrected, glancing sideways at him. Another beat of quiet passed. Somewhere behind them, a group of teens on rented scooters zipped by, laughing loudly before vanishing into a side street. Sofia pushed herself upright.
We should probably find Martin before he's arrested for trying to charm a security guard.
They wandered back toward the indoor bar area, now winding down, the music lower, the lights softer, and the crowd thinning. The carnival edge had dulled into a mellow buzz. The tempo of everything had slowed. Martin wasn't hard to find. He was posted up at a high corner table beneath a neon sign shaped like a pixelated sword. 2 empty glasses flanked a third half-drunk one. He was mid-conversation with a woman in a cosplay dress, gesturing with the flair of someone who knew he was being entertaining. When he saw them, he beamed.
Hey, look who finally found me, the rest of the tactical team.
Sofia crossed her arms.
Aren't you supposed to be the responsible one?
I am being responsible.
Martin said solemnly, holding up his glass.
This is water.
He took a very not water sip with dramatic flair. Oliver tilted his head slightly.
You still standing?
Only because this table is helping.
Martin's face twitched. He let out a sudden loud hurk, a full-body dry heave that turned a few heads nearby. His companion gave a polite smile and excused herself with a nod, disappearing into the crowd. Martin slumped back in his chair, wiping his mouth dramatically, looking disproportionately proud of himself.
You know,
He said, eyes glassy but sincere.
this was a good day.
Sofia raised an eyebrow.
Your win or the drinks?
All of it. The match, the company, the hot dogs. this possibly radioactive beverage.
You're lucky tomorrow's a break day.
Sofia said, pulling up a chair. Martin leaned forward, his voice dropping a notch in volume and bravado.
Really, though. Thanks, man. You didn't have to help me. But you did, and it mattered.
Oliver nodded.
Glad it worked.
The music shifted, now gentle acoustic covers of recognizable game themes. In the corner, someone strummed a guitar beside a tip jar, filling the space with soft chords. A couple danced slowly in the shadows near the back wall. The tension of the day had melted into something more nostalgic. Sofia yawned, covering her mouth with the back of her hand.
All right, that's probably my signal.
Need an escort?
Oliver asked. She glanced at Martin, slouched, glass half raised between table and his mouth, in slow motion like a delayed emote.
I guess I trust sober you more than I trust Martin right now, so yes.
Martin raised his glass in a sleepy salute.
I'll be here, mingling with the locals, or passed out on this chair. We'll see.
They waved and made their way outside into the open night. The air was cooler now, not cold, just clean. The crowd had thinned to its last wave. Vendors packed up, banners came down, security guards leaned on walls, their shifts nearly over. And still the lights hung gently above it all, like stars that had agreed to come a little closer just for tonight. The walk to Sofia's hotel pulled them farther and farther from the heart of the festival, where the noise had finally begun to die down. Out here, Prague changed. The roads narrowed, the lighting grew sparse, and the buildings seemed older, quieter, more settled into themselves. They passed shuttered cafes, empty bus stops, and aging shop fronts with handwritten signs taped to the glass. Their footsteps echoed softly along the cobbled pavement, accompanied only by the rustling leaves and the occasional creak of tram wires overhead. Sofia's arms were folded, but her posture wasn't guarded, just tired. The kind of tired that comes at the end of something unexpectedly long.
I forget how different a city feels once you leave the center.
She said after a stretch of silence. Oliver nodded.
Less curated.
More honest.
She added, glancing up at a row of quiet apartments above them.
It stops performing.
The air smelled like cut grass and lingering car exhaust. Somewhere nearby, a dog barked once and then went quiet.
I don't usually let strangers walk me home.
She said after a while.
I don't usually offer.
Oliver replied. She looked at him sidelong.
So, why this time?
He thought about it.
You seemed worth the exception.
She let out a small laugh, not surprised by the honesty. They were nearing an underpass when a loud voice interrupted the moment.
Well, look what we've got here.
The Czech voice came from the shadows beneath a broken street lamp. A group of men stood in loose formation, 6 of them, maybe more. One stepped forward, his bald head shining under the lamplight. Oliver recognized him immediately from Apostle's Tavern. The man grinned.
Out on a midnight stroll with your girlfriend. How sweet.
Sofia instinctively moved closer to Oliver, and he stepped in front of her without thinking.
We're just passing through.
Oliver said, calm but firm.
Slovaks?
The man said, tilting his head.
Of course. Always crawling over. You people never know when you're not wanted.
Oliver didn't answer. He tried to guide Sofia to the edge of the sidewalk, hoping to slip past, but another man blocked their path.
See, there's etiquette here.
The first man continued.
When you see locals coming, you step aside. You don't strut down the middle like you're owed something.
Another man flanked them, walking a slow circle, eyes sizing up Sofia.
You should have stayed wherever it is you came from.
One of them muttered.
Trash always drifts in eventually.
Sofia started to pull back, but one of the men grabbed her wrist.
Let go.
She snapped, trying to twist free.
One kiss, sweetheart,
He said.
and you two can go. That's fair.
Oliver stepped forward and yanked the man's arm away from her. He shoved him hard, sending him staggering back. The man's smirk vanished.
That was a mistake.
Another stepped in and punched Oliver hard in the ribs. Pain radiated through his side. A second fist caught his jaw. He stumbled but stayed upright.
Get off him!
Sofia shouted, trying to intervene, but another man shoved her down roughly onto the sidewalk. Her hands scraped the ground. She tried to get back up, but one of them loomed over her. Oliver threw himself forward, slamming into the man. They crashed to the ground. Fists flew. Someone kicked him in the back. Another grabbed his shirt and slammed him against the pavement. A boot struck his stomach, then his shoulder. Blood filled his mouth. Vision blurred. He caught a glimpse of Sofia trying to scramble away from one of them, swinging her bag defensively.
Hold her still.
Someone growled.
Let's teach them both a lesson.
Oliver forced himself up, fury overtaking the pain.
Leave her alone?
He shouted, voice cracking. One of the men turned, fist raised.
Look at the hero.
Then came the sound of tires skidding, sirens.
Policy!
Blue light exploded across the street, doors slammed open, shouts in Czech filled the air. The attackers bolted in all directions, one into the trees, another into the alley behind them. Two ran back toward a bar. Sofia rushed to Oliver's side, dropping to her knees. Her hands shook as she reached for his shoulder.
Oliver? Hey, Oliver?
He blinked up at her, barely tracking her words. Officers swarmed the street. One knelt beside him, radio barking out a call for a medic. Sofia stayed by him, gripping his sleeve. Oliver tried to speak, but the words didn't form. The world around him dimmed. Not darkness, but something heavier. He didn't close his eyes. They simply stopped holding themselves open.